Courage is to have fears and know that you will be alright. Bilbo was a mere hobbit. He was very scared. But despite that, he challenged himself. And so should you. By the time you are watching this video, you already know that the actor who was portraying Bilbo Baggins in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy has passed away. And I wanted to do this video to kind of pay a tribute to him and talk about the lessons that Bilbo Baggins taught us. The original films made a great impression on me. I was very young at the time they were released. And even to this day, I think the original trilogy is the best one ever made. The acting, the music, the costumes, oh, those costumes, they were very impressive and made me feel like I was personally participating in the making of those movies. If you get a chance, I suggest that you watch the films under the dopest audio setting possible, preferably under a surround system, and I guarantee goosebumps are inevitable. Going back to the topic, one of the greatest lessons is that our choices sculpt our character over time. As we know, in the beginning of his adventures, Bilbo Baggins had a very standoffish character, but he was persuaded by Gandalf to make the right choices and to find the good within, which was always there, latent, buried underneath the facade. He just needed a small push to act selflessly, to take on the challenges that he was faced. And by doing that, he accomplished great deeds and earned everybody's respect. Bilbo Baggins became a completely different person at the end of his adventures, compared to who he was in the beginning. A kind of a caterpillar becoming butterfly effect. It's never late to follow the path of becoming the best version of yourself. Another great lesson is that failure is not a death sentence. It's merely a part of the process of growth and personal development. Don't get it twisted, all men fall, but the great ones rise again. Bilbo Baggins took on a great adventure, facing a lot of dangers. But despite that, he was courageous enough to face his fears, to find resourcefulness within, and with his wit and cunning character, he was able to overcome all the adversities that life threw at him. And in the meanwhile, doing all of that, he learned a lot about himself. He felt empowered and his belief in himself grew stronger for every day. This is a great representation of life and how confidence is acquired. With every task completed, you gain even higher confidence and taking on next challenges becomes easier. Perfectionism is a very skewed representation of reality. There's a great saying that life is what happens to us when we're busy making other plans. Bilbo's adventures kind of fall onto him. He didn't expect someone to come into his house, making so much fuss about going on a life-threatening mission. He was having an ordinary day, and a lot of times life doesn't expect you to be prepared for things it will throw at you, especially having an antisocial character. Being a kind of an introvert, Bilbo became very confused when Gandalf assigned him the mission, but he made the right choice. He didn't resist towards life. He just adapted along the way. That is one of the greatest revelations about life. If you resist what is, you will suffer immensely. But if you adapt and flow along, become one, become friend with life, you will only gain. Not trying to fight what is coming, rather being in alignment and making the best out of the situation. Don't accept the narrative. Assume formlessness. Never let anyone to tell you who you are or what you should be. And in this case, hobbits were never seen as courageous people or having any type of leadership skills. Yet Bilbo Baggins managed to shut off all the outwardly feedback and try to focus on the mission, on his goal, and accomplish it by any means. Your past doesn't define you. Make your own path, and that is exactly what Bilbo did. He was very determined, had that fire in the belly, and marched on to make some great impact on everyone's life, even those who never knew him. It doesn't matter where you're born, where you're coming from, your race, your skin color, your background, your nationality, your height, your weight. You can always make change. And the key is to not get stuck in the emotions of the past, of things that made you wrong, major disappointments. It doesn't matter. Today is a new day. And the things that will happen tomorrow depends on what actions you take today. Always adapt to your environment. Use it to your own advantage. Learn the tools of the contemporary living and make sure that life happens for you, not to you. It's not the size nor shape that limits your abilities, but your mind. Courage is to have fears and know that you will be alright. Bilbo was a mere hobbit. He was very scared. But despite that, he challenged himself. And so should you. Growth happens slightly outside of the comfort zone. You have to always challenge yourself so you don't feel stagnant. Because the moment you feel restlessness is the moment you lose your direction. And when you don't have any direction in life, life becomes chaotic for you. You feel depressed, you feel anxious, you find yourself wallowing in misery. When you challenge yourself, when you grow constantly, life doesn't become easier. Understand that. Rather, you gain great tools to deal with it in a very simple fashion. Also, when you challenge yourself, you are going for greatness. And those who chase greatness automatically gain recognition and glory, not just because it's your aim, but because it's a bonus for those who try to better themselves each and every day. With all of that being said, become a Bilbo Baggins, my friend, where you start off as a very small person in a very big world and end up becoming a very big person in a very small world. Hossein, out.